Good morning. We're here in Hunter River today. Behind me is the river and the elementary school where I went to school. You probably can't see it behind the trees, but anyway, we're just doing our business and then getting on our walk. I'm going to flip the camera and we'll keep going. So yeah, Hunter River, Central Queens Elementary School. That's the elementary school I went to when I was a kid. Spent a lot of time in Hunter River, of course. I have lots of memories from this area. Not in walking on this trail. This is all, again, was part of the railroad. So, but yeah, I spent a lot of time in the playground in the elementary school. I remember going to the little corner store that used to be there for getting candy sometimes. I remember going to the gas station to rent Nintendo or Master System games and systems, movies at times. Yeah, it was sort of the little economic hub of this area of Queens County. Lots of people go through it on a regular day because Route 2 is one of the two main highways that sort of connects the province. But yeah, it's a beautiful little walk here. Nibbler's enjoying some running around. So it's a cold day though. Definitely starting to feel like fall. The leaves are just starting to get a little yellow. We'll probably get some fall colors by the end of this month on our walks. But yeah. Hang on. Alright, so I think I'm going to finish off my sort of 3-day ramble about medical tech and where we're at. I guess just kind of describe what I think my ideal diabetic solution would be. And that would be a piece of software that can connect with my continuous glucose monitor, can keep permanent logs of my readings for as far back as I can, all stored ideally locally, either on my home computer or on a mobile device or something. And then be able to set more sophisticated thresholds, so I've got the Freestyle Libre 2, which allows me to set 3 alarms. One which is if the blood sugar drops below a certain amount, another which is if it goes above a certain amount, and then the third one is if the sensor's almost done, I think, is the other. But that's essentially it. And this is one of the big problems with, the way these are sort of self-contained, self-packaged pieces of hardware that also have some proprietary software to go with it, is they're not going to produce the best user interface because there's no motivation. They've got a locked-in product. What I really want is to be able to set not just a threshold, but say if my blood sugar is dropping by a certain amount over time, that would be good to know. Also, being able to set different thresholds at different parts of the day would also be useful. But in addition to that, and the part that's really lacking on the current software that these devices have, is there's no coordination between the tools you use to measure your blood sugar and the tools that you would need to be able to maintain your diet. And just do things like So tracking the food that you've intaken, understanding exactly what carbs you've consumed and how those are going to affect your bloodstream going forward. Like an intelligent piece of software should be able to go back on your back history of how these types of foods have reacted before, compare that to your current state of your body, and I'm sure there's lots of subtlety and detail in why even consuming the same food at a different point in time can have very different effects. If you're consuming it after having not consumed anything for quite a few hours, that's very different than if you consume the same thing a couple of hours after having a decent carb snack or something like that, right? So all that accounting, and also just being able to choose, ideally, especially with the way artificial intelligence is increasing in leaps and bounds these days, is the ideal would be able to just take a picture of your food and have your phone be able to figure out what's in that. Certainly easiest to do is something like restaurant food, where the dishes are, should be relatively consistent. But even if you're preparing meals at home, you generally will prepare the same meal the same way, and so, you shouldn't have to be re-entering all this information. It should just be either something you can select from a list, or, like I said, ideally, just be able to take a picture of your food and have your computer know exactly what you've consumed, and then use that to add to its monitoring blood sugar and that sort of stuff. So, we're still early days. But like I said, that's the big nut to crack, is creating some industry standards for some of these interfaces, and being able to have the same software connect to any continuous glucose monitor that's on the market right now. That sort of stuff. So, here's hoping someday this will get figured out, but that's just my personal wish list of what I'd like as a device. It's going to be, I guess I'm looking forward to a future where we're maintaining, or dealing with this disease becomes a lot easier, and we let computers kind of help us as best we can, but in a way that doesn't exploit our information or expose us to risk and security or privacy risks online. But yeah, that's my ramble for today. Nibbler and I are going to keep walking. I'll take some nature footage, and we will see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye, Nibbler. See ya.